and we have a very, very special guest today. Uh, she goes by Lucy, but Dreadpool could probably say her proper name that I can't. So, Dreadpool,
Kyriakidou.
there
It's
we go.
Kyriakidou, right?
Yes, Kyriakidou.
Um, so we're really excited to have this interview, and on the panel you will recognize Dreadpool and Flamish, who sadly has an almost empty candy bowl. But I want to go ahead and just talk about Lucy and thank her for being here. First of all, we're really happy that you were able to come on and spare some time for us. So we really appreciate it. Um, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. This is fun. Um, yeah. I have been working in games for a decade now. That I realized it's such a long time. I'm a character designer. Right now, I am art directing. I was the lead character designer on Battletoads. Um, and now I'm kind of sticking with Delilah. They let me art direct the next project. Um, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've just been designing characters in games. I've worked on a lot of other stuff as well because I've been freelance my whole career, like animation and I don't know, like book illustration. I just like the variety. But games is kind of where I keep coming back to and like the main thing I do now. Um, yeah, I do a lot of stuff in the industry as well. I do a lot of talks about body diversity or like inclusion because some these are things that are really important to me. Yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. For anybody that was listening just now, we had some minor feedback on the microphone feed, but I fixed it, so I apologize. Happens every now and then with YouTube. So I would just want to say this on the Battletoads character design. It was fantastic. I think that you really done a wonderful job bringing them up to like a modernization kind of look. And I don't know, where you draw your inspiration from, but for me, I love cartoons. So I still watch cartoons to this day. And it reminds me of like a Saturday morning kind of feel like cartoon. And I just loved it. It wasn't like, those little pixelated guys that I remember. These guys are like kind of more out there now, got more muscles
Yeah.
to show, and kind of matured with the age of cartoonism. And it was just a blast to see that because your design allowed them to bring out the humor that they have as well. And fantastic job with the Dark Queen. I thought that rendition was really cool. It was, it wasn't like what I remember. This is more like a refresh, like a cartoony refresh look, and it just really fit the humor of what Rare and what Delilah Studios was really trying to go for with this. So big congratulations! This is like one of my favorite games in Game Pass. So I hope I always message AJ, and I'm like, season 2 when? Season 2 when? I'm always hoping that we'll get more. Your artwork is just, I mean, it's just mind blowingly fantastic.
Thank you. I can't actually take credit for that though. I joined the project after like the main characters were designed. Um, but I did a lot of drawing of them and kind of fleshing out like expressions for them and things like that. So yeah, I didn't design the characters, but they really feel like I drew them so much during the project. It really feels like my characters. I love the Dark Queen. I remember like just drawing her face. Like I said, I did a lot of expression stuff for them and like a lot of poses. Some stuff that ended up in the game. And it's just so fun playing with them because they have that Saturday morning like cartoon feel. You could do so much with them. Um, yeah, it's great.
Now,
Where Oh, go
you're
ahead. I'm
talking. I'm
sorry.
sorry. You're talking
It's
about
okay.
drawing it repetitively. How we understand how cartoons work. How similar of a process is this, and can you digitize a lot of that to minimize the repetitive drawing? Because I'm assuming you're doing it on a PC. You're not literally hand drawing on a piece of paper.
Yeah. So the animation was all like proper traditional animation, and I mean you could, and a lot of things do that where you don't need to redraw things, and it works. But that's not kind of the style that we were going for, and I think it kind of really helped bring them to life the way that they were done. And honestly, I could draw them forever. I do not mind at all.
Is there a favorite character that you could even today still draw?
Oh, I could probably still draw all of them. I guess holidays. I just really like holidays. You know, the one with um the lights, the red one, the little one, the squeaky one. I think that's one of my favorite. I designed a lot of the enemies, and I give them all like little backstories. So it's like every time people just beat them up, I'm like, no, my babies.
That's interesting. It's cool that you actually give them backstories, that they have a life to their own.
Yeah, it kind of helps me design them as well. Like I feel like just adding little interesting things that maybe don't mean anything to anybody else, but I'm like, to me, I'm like, oh, what if they, I don't know, like had a hard life? So like,
Stuff like that, little
okay.
things like that brings out the
Yeah.
personalities in those characters, even though they might be, you know, here for a screen and then you beat them up and they're out for the next screen. But at least, you
I
know,
know.
it gives them personality.
Yeah. It's so fast paced that you miss a lot of stuff. But honestly, just like if you could frame by frame that game, it's so good.
The one thing that I thought was really cool is you said that you helped with a lot of the facial expressions, especially on the Dark Queen, and I really think that your facial expressions really brought out the humor of Siobhan Hewlett, that voiced the Dark Queen. I think it was like a fantastical combo between your animation, your style, and then her sense of humor. And when we talked to her, she just talked about how much she loved your Dark Queen character. Like she was fascinated by all the work that you did. Uh, One of the funny things that I found, I don't know if you were responsible for this or if this was added later or before, but there was a scene with the Dark Queen and it's like almost where it's censored out and she's holding up like what would be, I guess, like her middle finger.
Yeah, yeah.
That that is hysterical. I don't know if you respond, but that was awesome.
Honestly, just Dark Queen is just so great and like such a three-dimensional character. And there's just so many like things to discover like throughout the game about her. That is just yeah, it's amazing.
So,
Yeah, I got a question. So, when you think about Battletoads, is this something you were always interested in? Like with the, did you seen any of the games before? Did you play them when you were younger? Do you know about them?
No, I knew about them, but I had never played them. So when I like was talking to AJ about the project, I kind of look into it more, and I was like, okay, this looks really fun. And then I was like, okay, I could never play this game because I would not be good. And even the new game, like Battletoads, right? I'm just so bad at it. um, I visited the studio and I played, and like the team was kind of carrying me. I'm not gonna lie. And since then, every time I play, I've not been getting any better.
Yeah. Okay. And when I'm thinking about the style, because I'm looking on your pages and I'm looking at all the different styles that you're doing, like it's something completely different than what I've seen before, because it's so cartoony and you draw a little bit more realistically that I've seen. So how was that to adjust to that type of that drawing style?
It actually wasn't that hard at all. I think because I tapped into like my like childhood and what I watched. And I think since then it actually I started drawing more cartoony stuff in my spare time. Because of it, like my style kind of changed, like that I usually do my like personal time. Um I've always liked experimenting with different styles, so that was never a problem. And I remember we were like talking with AJ and like how we realized that one of my characters that I did for like my art test, so like we were checking if like I can work in the style and all that before like we decided to go ahead and like I joined the project more like on a full-time basis. and one of those characters ended up in the game, so it wasn't that hard, I guess. I guess I took to it okay.
That's cool. Can we kind of go back into history, and how did you get into the artistic fields to freelance and then get to here to be a would you call it a production
Art director?
production director? I'm sorry, I didn't want to say production artist. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So yeah, from growing up and getting into art, you know, I'm sure you went to school and then you kind of like freelanced. I mean, can you explain some of that? Because, you know, I've got a daughter and I want her to learn some of the stuff. I mean, granted, she's only 7, but she's got art, and
Never too early.
I actually have a picture up here that she drew when she was probably 3 years old, and she did another one just this year with a little box cat, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. The last minute, she added the little video game console. She looked like a Game Boy. So, you know, I'm trying to push her in whatever direction she wants to go. So, as a role model, you know, how did all this happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, that was a good point you brought with your daughter, because like for me, that's how it started. I would just always like to draw, and some kids kind of grow out of that or like stop to do other things, but I never did. And I just kept drawing. So when it came to figuring what I wanted to do for uni, I really wanted to do something creative. And somebody recommended animation. So I looked into it, and back then we didn't have as many resources, right? I didn't even know people made games, or like animation never occurred to me as a career. So I looked into it. I was like, okay, I'll do animation, see how I like it. And while I was at uni, I discovered that people make games, and I was like, oh my God, I can make games. I love playing games. Like, I can't believe that something I create could be something that other people play. So yeah, it kind of happened very like randomly. Like, I just wanted to draw, and then people like, oh, just animate as well. So I did that. And then I went back to drawing. I did like, even when I finished uni, animated for some time. Like, I did that in my job. But no, I always liked designing characters. Like, that to me was always a passion. So it's nice that it kind of came like full circle. Like, I remember in my books, like as I was growing up, like I was just like my school books, I was just drawing characters on the side. Don't tell my teachers.
We'll keep it with ourselves here.
Yeah. Yes, just between us.
Yep.
Lucy, I want to apologize. My dog interrupted me, so the stream couldn't hear it, but I think you guys might have heard my dog like tap on me to go out. I wanted to ask you, a lot of the animation that you do, I may have missed this question if they asked it. Do you do like a lot of hand animation, or do you do a lot now like on the computer with, you know, digital art?
Well, now I don't animate much anymore. What I mostly do is like design the characters, so like do a lot of stuff that you don't get to see. And other people take the characters and animate them, which they did a great job at. Like, because I drew some weird stuff, especially for Battletoads. I remember when I first drew, the character was like 3 characters stacked together with like a big mallet. I felt so bad that somebody else had to animate that, because they do animate like frame by frame. So I couldn't do it. Like, I animated before, and I just don't have the patience anymore, I think.
What was one of your favorite characters that you created in Battletoads?
Oh, the main bad guys, I think. Yuto and Pia, the big mask people that you fight at the end. Yeah. I just like them. I mostly like them because of the like writing and the voice acting. They're just so funny. That I just like, I can't believe they just like brought them to life like in such a funny way. So yeah, I'd say that they were my favorite, and they were some of the hardest we got to just like as in the process to design them. I felt like they took a lot longer than all the others. But now it's worth it. Like I see them and I see them with like the little martini glasses and I'm like, yes, so good.
Did you instruct them on how their personality should be? You know, this is what I'm drawing. This is how they should be.
Not them. I think AJ was like, oh, just think sassy. And I was like, okay, I'll think sassy. But obviously, like it always happens as you design a character, like that inspires things. And then like the brief maybe like gets adapted. And like, you know, it's like a process. Like, yeah, you have a brief, but then as a designer, it was kind of my job to add to the character and like to that brief. So I like to think I inspired something. But yeah, sassy for sure.
Was there like, is there something you take from this to your next project? Like, or is it going to be something completely different? Like, is there some stuff that you like, how do I say this? Like you're drawing these characters and it's a style you never done before. You had to adjust to it. Is there some stuff you learned from it? That's what I mean.
Yeah, I really did. Like I said, even now in my personal time, I get to work a lot looser, like a lot more cartoonier. And I think something I really took from the project was like going completely weird with things. Because especially like I remember like AJ was sending me the weirdest briefs, and it was always so like just strange, the strangest things. He was like, okay, just think these animals that have lived there for years, but also they've merged with office supplies. I was like, what? I don't know what to do with that. And he was like, oh yeah, but they're also completely gross. And I was like, okay. So it was that fun kind of like, it got me into that like weird way of like thinking really out of the box, I think. That I definitely am grateful for, because it kind of got me through Battletoads, but I think it's going to come in handy in the next projects as well to like draw really weird, wacky things.
Well, you know, we spoke with AJ a while back about the next project.
Yeah.
You know, can you enlighten us on that project?
Gonna get me in trouble. I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay. I figured I'd try.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you trying.
Yeah. The first project you ever did, like when I look on your page and I'm like, what was the first game like project that
I ever worked on?
Yeah.
That's so hard. I think the first project I ever worked on, which was like, I think it was like 2 weeks after I started working on it, 2 weeks after uni, like after I graduated.
Wow.
It was an indie game for like school kids, if I remember correctly. And I think it was like, you know, like you like were building animals, like animal characters, and then you were finding places for them to live in. God, that's a blast from the past. I've not thought about that in ages.
Yeah, we go back the way a long time.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm also very interested in art myself. Like I've done some studying on myself, so like online and trying to draw, but it's like it never comes to fruition that much. So I always like keep trying sometimes, but it doesn't really go.
I mean, that's what art does, right? At first, it's never gonna be what you want it to be. And even now, like to me, I sometimes have something in my head and I just still can't put it on paper. So it just takes time. That's it.
What's a good program you would recommend to people to start drawing and to people that want to get into drawing?
Okay. Like paper and pencil. I think we get to like when it's software, there's like you need to learn software on top of drawing, and that just seems like a lot of stuff to figure out in one go. Most people can operate pencil. So I'd say just draw on paper. It just takes a lot out of it. And when you do digital art, you develop some bad habits as well that you should avoid as much as you can. Like you can undo, and like like on paper, you have to live with your mistakes.
Yeah, it's true. Or you take an eraser and then it's actually pretty easy
Yes.
to just erase it.
I never mentioned eraser as part of the software for this. Just pencil.
Well, I mean, what you're saying is kind of true because I've watched some comic book artists draw stuff, and you'll see like where they draw something on paper, and it doesn't look as good as it would as if it was digitized yet. And then they digitize it, they undo like their messy lines, they do outside colors, and then they make it bright and shiny, and then it takes away like all that natural imperfection in a piece of art, and it just looks like something completely different than what they started with.
Yeah, I mean, they all have their like pros and cons, but I personally like, haven't said that, I've not worked on like paper for like a year. But yeah, there's just something so natural, like just drawing on paper and living, like you said, like with those imperfections. But I think it's good. Like you really get to see the artist's skill.
No,
I think it also, yeah, sorry, guys.
I was gonna ask when you do draw, do you use like a what do they call those? It's almost like the things that you hook into like a USB port, but they're kind of
Like
like
a
a
tablet?
pen. Yeah, but the ones that hook like a mouse pad with a pen, or do you actually use like an actual tablet or a Surface to draw with?
I use one of them. I use a tablet with a pencil. I sometimes use my iPad, but not so much for work. I usually do that when I'm on the sofa just doodling.
Is there any book that you recommend for sketch artists that you?
Oh, there's so many.
Okay, how about a favorite that you like that you have?
A favorite?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or maybe
don't know.
take your inspiration from that could be.
See, I take a lot of my inspiration from comic books, like in graphic novels. So it's really hard to talk about an art book. Yeah. When I
Graphic
was
novel.
Hmm?
Graphic novels are art books, so
yeah. Well, yes, the
Right.
books with art in them. Yeah. I guess I never thought that. Yeah, I guess. But book about art, I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I used to get loads and collect loads. But then the more I got comfortable with drawing myself, I guess I use it less. I love books that have poses in them, or they're just like big like atlases of like just poses of people doing different things. Because it's great reference. And I guess you can find it on Google, but I don't know. I like having it in a physical form.
yeah, I notice you do that in a lot of your sketches. That you have a lot of the character animation in a pose or
Mm.
in mid action of sorts.
Yeah, I think that goes back to my animator days, and also I think a static character doesn't tell you much, but I don't know. I like my art to be a bit more dynamic. That's what I enjoy, and I can tell more stories through that. I think, so yeah. I always feel like I'm cheating if I draw just a static character like standing there. I'm like, oh, what?
Well, when you think about it, like dynamic poses and stuff always are more lovely to see. Like they always tell more of a story than just a
Yep.
character standing there, and it brings the art a little bit more to life as well when you look at it. Well, when I look at your art, with your realistic art style that you did, when I'm looking at, let's say, Augmented Empire and Primetime Detective, right?
Uh-huh.
Those two,
Yeah.
like, is there something about that art style that you're like, did you use reference from real pictures? Were you more like, how did that come to fruition, like getting that real life art style in there?
Um, And I know what you mean. It's a lot more like realistic proportions and stuff, isn't it? I can't do super realistic stuff, and I never got into that. I think for that kind of style is because I grew up with graphic novels. So I kind of, in the back of my head, I always wanted to learn to draw like that. And if you go back, like I started with quite cartoony. Well, I started with like really bad, like realistic stuff, and then like I went more cartoony, and then I kind of tried to build it back up throughout like the years of doing art. But yeah, it's just something because, like, you know, I grew up reading, like, I don't know, things like X-Men, or why is that the only thing I can think of? But like more realistic-y stuff, not just like, because some of the things were like Asterix and Obelix. That's something I read, but that was more on the cartoony side. But I was always impressed by the anatomy and like things like Marvel, and it's just so yeah, I think a lot of the inspiration comes from the stuff I read. Yeah.
So I know that you mentioned comics and you mentioned like Marvel. I love comic books. Like, I just love art. I used to draw a lot, and then as I got older, I kind of like stopped because I did a lot of comic book style art, and then I did a lot of like pastel stuff too. I really like doing
Nice.
like real life pastel and then making it like cartoony. It was really weird. I had my own unique style. But when you talk about comic books, for me, like one of my favorite artists of all time would be like Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee. Did you have like a favorite comic book artist that you always like to go back and reference or try to, I guess, like analyze their anatomy of their characters?
Mm. Um. So I don't know. I don't think I ever had a specific thing. Like, at least not for more realistic stuff. Like I said, with like Asterix and Obelix, like Udozo's, like I can't say the name. Yeah, always great. I guess I remember I bought a book, Scott Campbell, like they did like Danger Girl and stuff. It's quite
Yes.
yeah, which back now I'm thinking that was what a strange way to thingy to stylize a female body. But like I always find that quite fascinating. Yeah, I'm starting to I'm trying to think. It's a lot, it's been a lot of different artists and a lot of different like periods of my life. Um Yeah, yeah, yeah. God, I'm the
Huh.
worst at like trying to think of specific references today.
That's okay. Scott Campbell, I know who exactly you're talking about. He does, I mean, he still does art today, and like some of his stuff is like, it's so finely detailed, but it just like pops out at you. Like,
Hmm.
it's so hard to describe. I want to buy everything he does, but I can't afford it. You know, he's good. Um, so besides Battletoads, have you worked on any other like major games similar to Battletoads?
Major games? Nothing that big, no.
So Battletoads
Things
has
that's
been your biggest project so far?
It has been, yeah. Yeah. With all the good and bad that brings. Yeah.
And the next one,
Yeah. The
Uh,
next
uh,
one's
next
even
one.
bigger.
Season 2
Oh.
when?
I hope so. That would be the best,
Yeah.
right? Like, you don't want to go back to
So-
you always want to aim higher. So
So
Exactly.
how did they find you to bring you in? How did that happen, or did you find them?
No, I think it was a friend introduced us, somebody I'd worked with before and I knew from the industry. And AJ knew. They were looking for a character design, so yeah, I got recommended. And that started everything.
See, and that's what AJ was saying. A lot of the people that they brought on, it was through somebody that they've known, that they're like, oh, I know somebody that does this, and they brought them in. So I'm trying to know everybody, so that way when they need some voice acting, I could do something with AJ. You know, hey, bring me on to the next game. But
Is
no,
AJ in the chat? Tell him
I
that.
haven't seen him yet. I have not seen him yet. He could be lurking.
he asked AJ, trust me. Like
All right, so we do.
Stephanie has a question. Do you want to go ahead and ask it, Dreadpool?
Okay, I was about to. So we do have a question. Stephanie's asking, who inspired you to become the artist that you are today?
That's super hard. Um, okay, I know this is like, I don't know, it may be such a cliche answer, but like my dad was always very supportive of what I did, and he was also very creative. Um, like he does things like with woodwork and like glass, and like I always got fascinated how somebody because he's a doctor, right? Like I always got fascinated how somebody on top of what they do, like they find the time to be creative. So I think that always drove me, and my mum as well. Like she finds ways to like do like crafts and things. Um, so yeah, I think my parents, like I said, as you know, I don't think that was the answer they were expecting, but yeah, they were very supportive. I'm sure not all parents are happy when you say you want to be an artist, at least not back then. Um, but yeah, they just like helped me with everything I needed. So that
And
was great.
if
I
I
think-
can hold on, can I rebuttal
Yeah,
on that?
go ahead.
So when I'm thinking like the style that you go
Mm.
for, right? Your main style.
Mhm.
Who inspired you by that style? Who are the artists that you draw inspiration? Not like the same question, but that you
Yeah.
took a little bit from, because I know artists always goes like they always look at different people and then take a little bit from that guy, a little bit from
Yeah.
that girl, and
Yeah.
who are your people that you
Main ones.
yeah
I think again it goes from like when I started drawing and what I ended up going back to. Like so again, Asterix is something or like Disney, like Lilo and Stitch. Like I always loved Lilo and Stitch, and this like cuddly like roundness things
Yeah.
have. That yeah, there's like I think that influenced me a lot in what I do. Yeah, but like I said earlier, like a lot of Marvel books as well, like for my more realistic stuff. But yeah, I would say Asterix was a huge thing when growing up, because I used to use that a lot when I drew, like trying to copy. Yeah, and like Disney, obviously, because you
Yeah,
know
so
who
Disney.
doesn't?
You got those
Yeah.
Disney princesses behind you.
I know,
mean,
yeah.
Jumping.
so two things. Definitely, it's not cliche that your parents are your heroes. You know what I mean? So they're I mean, and that's the thing. They should be your role models in the first
Yeah.
place. You know, you shouldn't look
Yeah.
up to a sports person. They should be the ones helping you and guiding you. You know,
Mm.
obviously, you want somebody that's in a specific field that you're looking at doing to
Yeah.
be a role model also. So it's good that your parents did that. But now here's the other thing. I do understand the asterisks because I also grew up reading the comics, reading Strumpfs. And if
Yeah.
anybody's wondering what I mean by Strumpfs, would you like to explain it, or should I?
No, please go ahead.
Strumpfs are Smurfs. So we read comics that were the Smurf comics back in the day, and so I remember reading all those comics back then. So because I know a lot of people in the U.S. don't know anything about Asterix. It was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, there's
Oh,
games
really?
out there. Yes.
Hmm.
So I'm talking
Okay.
about the games, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, it's a European thing.
I didn't
So
know that was a.
It's from
Huh.
France, actually.
Yeah, I knew that, but I just always thought that it was like a global phenomenon, right?
I
don't
think
know.
until the
sort
movies
of
got
global.
big. I think until the movies then got bigger. But before that, I think the movies did take it a lot forward back then.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Wait, I'm lost because of what you just said. So Asterix are games?
They were
No,
comic
Okay.
books.
the books.
Yeah, they were books, comic books.
Yeah.
They were like little, even like the Saturday morning or was it the Sunday morning papers where you had the cartoon strips? They had strips too.
Oh,
They
they
did
did.
come.
I just knew
Yeah.
about the books. I
Well,
didn't realize
they
the
were in
books.
the ice cream. They had the
Huh.
gum. So they had like little things like that. It was just little commercials for the products that they were pushing.
Yeah.
But then they had a movie, and they also have games. I actually have 2 games right now on the Xbox.
Also the cartoon movies, those are good.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
then you
yeah.
had the actual movies as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had live action ones as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm still confused. I'm
I'll,
still
I'll
lost.
educate you afterwards,
It's
Clownz. Don't worry.
it's like I said, it's a regional thing. So it's not as it's it's spread across the world. It just didn't catch on everywhere as well as it did in certain areas.
Do
You
you
learn
mean the
you learn
Gauls are
something new.
actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Gauls are actually based in Belgium.
So it was French, but it was a Belgian.
Yeah, it was about
Belgium?
the Belgian part, like at the sea
Mm.
where we live. That's where it's based from. But I don't know why they did it that way, like not France but Belgium. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
interesting.
weird. But it's awesome. Like those art styles really pop, and that's what you see in your artwork, like in the beginning as well. Like even with this kind of style, it really suits that. So yeah, I just want to say that. Like anyone else, I'll take over.
Now, so I was looking through some of the games that you worked on your page. Is there a lot of other games too that you worked on that are not listed there?
Yeah, there are loads. But they were either earlier in my career where like I think I should like the art is not like I shouldn't be putting it in my portfolio anymore. Yeah, or I don't know because I've been freelancing and doing character design a lot of times. Like I get brought in the beginning of a project, and it's like generally like a small part in some games. So yeah, there's been like a lot of games. Yeah, but like my contribution has varied in them.
Okay. Have you helped with like a lot of phone games as well? Like a lot of mobile games?
Yeah, there have been some mobile games. Yeah, I wouldn't say many. Or at least I can't think of many. Yeah, like I said earlier, like I've been doing this for a decade. It's really hard to remember. And I don't always work on like big projects like Battletoads that are like a year and a half of my life. So
You want to take this question, Clowns, or do you want me to do it?
Sure. Stephanie has a question for you. What do you do when you have writer's block? Is there a certain place that you go to or something that pulls you back into your creative zone? So I guess when you're trying to think of characters.
So I've had an art block that's since like the whole pandemic and lockdown started. I've not done any like personal artwork. I've been trying, but because usually when I have an art block, I just go away and just like maybe go out, like see people and let myself get inspired that way. And I think because I can't do that now, obviously it's a lot harder for me to climb back out of it. But yeah, I find inspiration in a lot of things outside of games and maybe books, like actual real life. So I generally like to recharge that way if I feel like I'm kind of creatively drained. In my work, it's not always been like it generally is not that big a problem. I know a lot of people just say, oh, like art block, and they assume artists can't do their job. But for me, personally, it has never been a problem. Like work is work at the end of the day. And the projects I've worked on have inspired me enough to not put me in that place during it, like when I'm working on them. Sometimes I need to take a day to just rethink things and come back. I think giving your brain a break is always the best way. Just do something else. Just do something like doesn't use that part of your brain at all.
So, do you have another hobby that does that for you?
That's not games or watching
Yes.
or reading.
Yes.
Uh,
Something completely off ball that has nothing to do with the art aspect of what you do.
God, I'm not the most boring person when it comes to hobbies. It's literally just like watching stuff and playing games and reading comic books. I social life, like for me, like I love seeing friends and like I go to a lot of like gaming networking events where I get to see like my games industry friends. And that inspires me just seeing what everyone's up to, even if we can't usually talk about what we're working on because of NDAs. Now that I have a dog, it's great because just I get to mindlessly just go out for walks, which is something I never did before. Just go for walks. I I wouldn't. I don't have that many hobbies outside of that. I'm such a millennial.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta say though that that's kind of awesome though that you read comic books, you play games, and you draw. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of people that could say that those are their three favorite hobbies. We have interviewed some people that had like, even though they're involved in the industry, they had none of those hobbies. Like, and they're involved in the industry, so it was kind of shocking to see that. For you, I gotta ask this? What are some of your favorite video games?
Oh, that's always a fun question. Some games that really stuck with me, like Transistor is a huge one for me. That game literally made me cry. That doesn't happen very often. To have that reaction, like that emotional reaction to a game. Little Nightmares as well. I think from earlier on, like older games, that this will be silly, but like I played a lot of Tetris as a kid. I mean, but then again, who doesn't love Tetris?
Tetris is a
It's a
staple.
classic for a reason. For a reason.
Have you tried the new one yet?
I have not because I'm such a purist. I just want to play. If I had a competitive aspect to Tetris, I feel like I would become a very angry person because I get very angry when I get competitive. That's why I like mute. I'm never on voice chat. I can't.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you there, by the way.
No, that's fine. So Tomb Raider is another one that's really like it's just dear to my heart, even though I've not played the newer ones. But I remember we used to like all sit around the PC and watch my dad play, and sometimes we would play as well. So that just has, like I said, just a special place in my heart. Tomb Raider games. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Transistor, Little Nightmares, these kind of games. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Hades because it's just such a pretty game.
What do you think of the story in Hades, by the way?
Oh, I love it. And I love how much character, like the protagonist and everybody else has.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like one note, and not everything is serious, which is
No.
I love.
I was also very surprised, like how they like normally those type of games, like the roguelike, don't have a lot of story. They're mostly just go and you need to get to the end. But there's so much story in the game, it really like pulls you in and keeps you there. Like you want to keep playing that game. What do you think about the art style in that game? When you think about it?
It's so pretty. I can't. And the character designs are just beautiful. Just beautiful. Everything about the visuals of that game I love. I wish the text was a bit bigger at times when I play handheld. But I can't fault it, honestly. And the gameplay, obviously, I'm not just talking about the visuals. The gameplay is really fun. I've not just been playing it to look at it.
So staring at the gameplay like, oh, I like this wall. Oh, I like that character.
You need to progress gameplay to look at all the pretty art. That's the thing.
Yeah. I like the diversity in the game as well. So many different things, like the art style from that world, and then you have the other world with the Elysium. That's the one that draws me in the most as well. Like, if people don't know what I'm talking about, I have a live stream about that. I've played it a couple of times, so that's also on the channel. So check it out.
Has everybody here played Hades?
I haven't, but I did watch Flamish play Hades, and I have to say, like, at first I really wasn't interested in the game, but then when I started seeing like how based it was into a little bit of mythology here, and then the art style, it's kind of drawn me in. I'm gonna give it a playthrough for sure.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't had a chance. I downloaded it, but for the past month and a half, I've had a paperweight. So now that I got the new console, I've been dabbling with all the new games and trying to, like, I haven't really played a game up until Wednesday night when the group got together to play a specific game. But other than that, I pop on the game, look at it, play around for like 5 minutes, turn it off, get the next game on. So, but that is one that I want to go. I mean, it's Hades.
Honestly, I would so recommend it. Oh, so much.
So we do have a question from Stephanie. She wants to know, do you have any goals set for yourself, and where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
Oh, that's really interesting. So I really wanted to art direct, and here we are now. So it's really hard. I don't know where to go from here. And I think the project I'm working on now, I'm really peaking. So um, I always wanted to make my own game, even if it's something small. So that's something I keep setting this goal. So Stephanie, I'm sorry if I let you down, but I don't know if I will do it. I keep saying it every couple of years. But that's definitely a goal. I think it would be nice to kind of go through the whole process alone. Just to see, like something that I've created by myself. But yeah, in like career wise, I feel like I'm doing all right. So it's just that personal like goal of just creating something by myself. Like even if I fail, I don't care. If it's poopy, I don't mind either. It's just to do that once,
Nice. That's a kind of a catch-22. I was gonna invite you over to Florida here, where Clownz and I are. Disney's right around the corner from us. So, just saying, but if you still want to progress yourself, then Disney will give you opportunity, but at the same time, it's their way, so it's kind of you have to follow along with the way they see things. Now, with the way this new project is going, and you are doing this, trying to word it the correct way without throwing you under the bus and asking like the wrong question, but with this going, do you think you would stay on for another one? Or are you going to go elsewhere to look and try to expand on it and maybe create your own game with your art style?
Wait, do you mean like the thing I'm working on now?
After
What happens
Yes.
after?
Using this as a stepping stone for the next one.
I don't think AJ will let me go. I don't know. I guess I'll see what exciting thing comes next. That's the great thing about freelancing. I get to do that. Just see what exciting things there are and where to go next. Yeah.
All right.
But right now, I'm really excited about the thing I'm working on now, which I'm really sorry I can't talk about. But
Yeah, as much as we want, we're trying to dig it out of you, but we also want to pay the respect of not asking. So it's that double-edged sword. We do want to know, but we still have to respect you.
Trust me, I want to tell you, but I just can't.
You just whisper it in my ear here. Just whisper it. AJ's not here.
Can
you say if it's a game or a cartoon or anything?
I can
like
say
that?
It's a game. Yeah, I'm
yes.
working with. I'm working with Delilah still, like with AJ. Yeah.
So it's gonna be awesome.
We'll keep it at that. I mean, we don't want to go too far, of course. Don't poke the bear, I would say.
As soon as AJ tells you, you can have me over again. We can talk about that.
All right, that's awesome.
That would be great. That would be great. Maybe together. That's also nice. Like a few people actually from the same project. That's gonna be a little bit interesting as well. Maybe we should do that, Clownz.
It takes years though sometimes for a project to finish Flamish, so it might be like 2-3 years from now before it's done.
By then maybe my beard gets a little bit longer.
Maybe I'll be able to like figure out this beard contraption. Yeah.
Just tying it in a knot underneath, and there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just like.
Or you can do it like this,
around.
like both sides, just together.
Because if AJ is here as well, I feel like I will be the only beardless one.
Well, the next podcast you're going on next week, they all got a lot of them have beards. Like Viking, one of them has a Viking beard. So
yeah, Wandering Dutch had already told me I need to put some braids and beads in there.
Beads.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Especially now the Valhalla has.
So yeah, great group of guys. You'll have fun with those guys.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
I got a question about it right now, Lucy. Do you have a console at the moment, or have you bought one of the new ones?
Yeah. Today the PS5 controller got delivered.
Oh, nice.
Controller.
And I just have a controller,
Oh,
and that's it. So
Well,
how much of a
if you-
tease is that?
If you have a PS3 or a Switch, I hear that they work on those.
Do they?
That's what they're saying. That's what I'm hearing. I have not tested it myself, but that's what I'm hearing.
also, Clownz can tell you something else as well. Maybe you bring in the segment like every time. It's your time, Clownz.
Well,
What?
Lucy, you know, if you ever, I guess, like, you know, right now you guys are under lockdown, so it's probably boring without video games or comic books. But if your PS5 gets delayed or anything like that happens to you, you can always hop on your cell phone and hook a controller to it, and you can play xCloud through Xbox, and you can actually play like real Xbox titles, including Battletoads on xCloud. So you can like see your artwork and, you know, play it there, which is really cool. Yeah, my PS5 is supposed to come, but FedEx has kind of messed up.
Mm.
Yeah, they sent it backwards. Now they're trying to deliver it today, so hopefully it gets here. So
Oh, I hope so. At least you
Is
don't
it-
have just the controller just like teasing you, just to
Ye-
like, this is
see-
it.
You know
yeah,
what's going on with Clownz is they've opened up the box and they're playing the games right now, and they're trying to figure out
Probably.
how to put it back in the box so they can send it out to them.
I'd be sad if it came opened and be like, thanks for the time with your system.
do you know what they did, Clownz? They took open the box, they took out the controller, and just sent you the PlayStation 5 without the controller.
You
I'll
never
send you
know.
my controller.
Thank you.
So-
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dripple.
No, I was about to ask a question. I was like, wait a second, we've already asked that question, so let's move on. Go ahead.
When it comes to comic books, right? I know that you said that you still kind of read comics and graphic novels. Which kinds do you like to read? What do you go for? Any character specific?
I tend to go more for indie stuff nowadays. Like Rat Queens, like, which is like a fantasy. It's kind of like a D&D kind of like adventure. Or Saga, which is like a space fantasy adventure. Yeah, I read a lot of indie stuff now. I guess. Oh, I like a lot of horror stuff, like Junji Ito. Just
Okay.
perfect. Yeah. I have some Marvel stuff and I always go back to it. But yeah, I'm kind of more into like finding out what else like interesting things there are. Like we have a great shop, comic shop here, and they have like recommendations, so I always look at those. Like, and the staff like have great stuff, like hidden gems to discover, like that they have out there. So it's great.
I know that comics lately are getting more and more like diverse. You know, it's not the typical superhero anymore, and that's what's great to see, that comics are evolving to that extent. We've seen that with Harley Quinn and even Poison Ivy have like this semi relationship. Is there any strong female lead characters that you really like
In comic books,
in comics?
yeah, I think from Rat Queens, so the one I mentioned, it's a party of four female characters, and I really like it because it's so well fleshed out. Like they have like flaws and like they're not. I don't know. I just like flawed characters, and like to me that really builds up the personality and just like the relatability. And also it has that D&D feel that, you know, D&D. So
See, I never played D&D. I missed out growing up because my mom, my mom was like extremely religious. I grew up in a pretty big Italian family, so she was extremely religious, and everybody she talked to told her like bad things about D&D.
Oh.
My dad never cared. He's like, if you want to play it, go play. But my mom was like, if you play that game, she gets so freaked out. And I feel like I kind of missed out on part of childhood because there were so many people that played that, and it seemed like you get to create like your own stories. And there's like, I guess, what do you call them? Not a gatekeeper, but somebody that writes the kind of
Like Game
storyline.
Master?
Yeah, game master, and that would be so much fun to like be able to be a game master and create this world that people got to play in. And I just missed out on it. I'm
I
sad
only got
about that.
into it like at uni. So
It's still
it's never
possible.
too
to
late.
do
Yeah,
it.
never too
Yeah.
late.
I mean, I have my books downstairs, Clownz. I can teach you the ways.
Oh, a D&D podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Oh, play some
You,
D&D
you know,
on the
I
show.
do have friends that do D&D and board game podcast. They actually do it on YouTube. So
Yes.
there's plenty of people that would be interested in doing something like that.
Mm.
We can, yeah, I can act.
And
a
it's going to
little
be
bit.
called D&D Dining and Dreadpool. Or we'll just go Dreadpool and Dungeons.
Oh, and like the man of the hour, AJ is in the
Oh,
chat
God.
at the moment.
Oh God! Shh, don't talk about him anymore.
He said that we should do an online game of D&D. I'm down for that, AJ. If you guys can
Yeah.
teach me the ways, let me write the story. It'll be fun. Trust me, very first time.
Yes.
I'll make a character with you, Clowns. But for all the other stuff, I don't want to be the dungeon master because I'm gonna fuck it up. That's what happens.
You know what, Flamish? I'd be scared if you created a character with me because he'd be like a candy goblin.
It's gonna steal all your candy for sure.
I can picture it. And now you got something to draw. Flamish as a candy monster. Goblin.
Yeah, yeah. If you ever need
Candy
creative
goblin.
ideas, he is very
Expressive.
animated. Yeah, very animated about things. Yeah, I know as we were talking about comic books, and I know that you like to look at different indies and diverse things. There's I interviewed a writer by the name of Jeremy Whitley, and you actually might like some of his work. I'm not sure, but you might like it. He decided that he wanted to go against the norms. He didn't want to, develop the typical Captain America or the typical Hulk. He wants his daughter to grow up in a very diverse world. So he created a pirate princess comic where like the lead character is a strong female lead pirate princess, and like she's developing in the story like her own sexual identity. Like it's a really in-depth kind of story, and it never caught on mainstream because a lot of guys when they go in comics they're like, oh, where's Captain America, where's Spider-Man? They don't think about these diverse stories unless they're published by major titles. But Jeremy Whitley he's a pretty good writer. He did do stuff for Marvel. He did the Wasp, and he did some other stuff for Marvel too, but Marvel would never pick up his very diverse stuff. So he's a very cool dude, and you might actually like some of his ideas.
You had me a pirate princess. You didn't even need to say anything else.
Yeah, I'll look up the name while we're in here. And yes, AJ, please, D&D night. I'm down. I really am.
Yeah, I want to join as well, for sure.
Yeah, that sounds so fun.
I'm saying let's do it. We'll do another Zoom thing and we'll all play together. And we'll just set something up.
I will tell you a little story. One time I was like an orc paladin. And I was so religiously about my faith in that game that I need to do stuff where I was not proud of because as a paladin, I was pure for the law. So the law was I need to always obey it. And I need to do it sometimes that I felt it was bad for me. And at one particular time, my village burned down and I actually cried because I was so invested in my character. because of it. It was weird. Like that's how much I can be invested. So for me, it's gonna be Candy Goblin for sure.
So I know AJ's here, and now I'm going to scroll this off a little bit from the gaming stuff. You do speaking engagements and appearances. I'm looking over your list, and we had talked about this pre-show too, about your passion to promote more for openness for women. Can you speak a little bit about that? And
Yeah. So I like you were asking me earlier about role models. And the truth is, for somebody my age, there's not that many female role models in the industry because there's not that many senior women. And that makes it harder for younger women to want to get into the industry when they don't see anybody that looks like them in there, or like even in the games we create, they don't always give the best picture of maybe how we want to see ourselves. So that's why I think it's important to diversify the industry itself in order to diversify games. And that doesn't just, it's not just about women. It's about diversity in all its forms. But yeah, it's like for women, it's something I can speak to from personal experience. So I definitely would like to see more women join so we can make cool games together and like tell everybody stories.
right, then that's the beauty of it is when you have the diversity, like you're speaking of, especially even for the women side of it, is that you don't get your voices heard until that diversity is there. My wife was on a podcast doing, talking about horror movies. And a lot of the times the guys, it was just all guys and my wife. And as they're talking about this movie and that movie, and they had all great points. And then my wife would speak up and say something, and none of them thought about it. They're like, oh, that was a great point. So it's great to see that for that, and I want, like I said before, I want to make sure my daughter has the opportunity to do whatever she wants and support her that way. But, people like you that are before her lead the way. And it's great to see that you've progressed now to, from not having anybody to follow off of and kind of carving your own path, which makes it easier for younger generation to follow in your path.
I like to think so. I like to think that like slowly we'll get to see more women. But it's what you said, like it's about getting different perspectives, because like even for me, like I'm not a person of color. I'm sure if somebody came to me and like they would have perspectives that I never thought of, because there would never things I had to deal with, or like it's not the way I see the world. So you always have something to learn by somebody who has grown up differently, or who dealt with things differently, or had different things to deal with, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's plenty of similarities in our lives, but yet there's so many differences in the way that we've had to be presented to them.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
to see that opened up is a good thing.
Well, Lucy, I sent you the name of the comic that I was talking about, and what's really interesting about Jeremy Whitley's approach is that um, he believes in diversity, and his wife is a person of color, and his daughter is a person of color. So he writes from the perspective of like mixed diversity, and it's so intriguing to me because he's so interested in a world where his daughter could grow up and not be afraid to be a strong female and rely on men, and also not be afraid of who she is and her history. So it's just really cool that he puts that into his comics. Unfortunately, Marvel doesn't really pick up that as mainstream yet, but he did this as like a side project, and so I sent you that, and check it out, and
Thank
hope
you.
you like
Yes.
it.
I've written it down as well. I've written down John, not Jeremy, so I'll change that. Because I was thinking of pirate princess, so my mind was elsewhere.
AJ, if you have any questions you want to drop in the chat, we'll ask them. Anything that you, anything that comes off the top of your mind, just feel free to drop it in the chat, AJ. We'll ask it.
Yeah, AJ, you should ask what the next game is about.
Oh yes, AJ. Can you tell us, AJ? Can you tell us yet? Yeah, we always joke on Twitter with the hashtag season 2 won because that was a Battletoads achievement, and I really want season 2. So
yeah, it's great because everybody has said the same, so it's really nice to hear that people like the game so much that they want more of it.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the freshness of how the Saturday Live cartoons back in the day are. And then you have this game that does exactly the same thing, gives the same feeling. And then we have a lot of the older people that have games since back then, like, and seen all those cartoons that they really want that to be back. And that's why I think it draws so much attention to the game. And it's great. It's just great.
you know that's not a bad idea, AJ. Battletoads versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Double Dragon 4000.
See,
Yeah.
AJ let the cat out of the bag. There you go. You heard it here first.
Just a Battletoads against the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be so cool.
It would be,
It's
yeah.
against turtles.
So, Lucy, how amazing were the art proofs that he gave you on Battletoads?
The best, so detailed. Such poetry I got.
Where the scene where they're going back to work, and there's the animals by like the water cooler, kind of like talking. Did you design some of that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Was
there was no brief for those.
There's no brief. Did you design? Did you also do Captain Bones next to him doing the autographs?
I didn't. No. I wish I had because that's so good.
That was
just that
pretty
whole
cool.
section of the Toads just doing menial stuff.
I know that you guys. Sorry, Flamish. Hold it for 1 second. I know that you guys can't say what you're working on because of NDAs and stuff. But if in the future you do work with Rare again, some Banjo Kazooie memes or jokes along with Sea of Thieves would be awesome. I'm just saying, you know, you heard it here first. So,
did you hear, AJ? Did you hear?
No, what I was thinking, like in Battletoads, you have I saw that you did some character animation stuff for when the sliding part in the game is with like the 3 toads on that figure. Was there a scene like that where you need to draw certain stuff and then you were laughing out loud because it sounded so silly until it was on paper?
There was some times where I just I got like the brief or something and I had to talk to AJ because like, what is happening here? Am I reading this right? Am I understanding things correctly? Are they really just surfing on this person or what is happening? Yeah, for sure. Such a stupid game. I love it.
You know, that would be a funny Easter egg, right? You know, like the briefs that he gave you on like some of the topics real quick, how he did it like really quick. It's probably like design this or something or think of this. You should like Easter egg would be really cool in the next project that you can't talk about if there was like just like a painting in the background of like stick figures of what his initial description was. You know,
I
like
actually have one because I
you?
had started reading, like writing down some stuff, and I have one. If you took an animal that is I hope AJ is here and hearing back to what I had to deal with. If you took an animal that makes sense for the surroundings, e.g. a deer, combined with an object that makes no sense for the surroundings, like a sandwich press, made it look like it was the outcome of 10 generations of inbreeding and was an alien version.
Nice!
Like,
sounds normal to me.
Yeah, exactly. There's just so much to unpack there.
AJ,
Uh,
if you ever need help thinking of things, I'm on the same wavelength as you, my friend. Except I would talk about a candy goblin of 10 generations across many nations with many different facial features mixed with many different animals
And also
oh,
alien.
and
So,
alien.
so
he responded. He responded like. "Mwah." I got a question. Do you still sketch from day to day, like outside of your work, and do you do physically, like as well, or you just
Uh,
on the computer these days?
I do sketch. I've been trying lately because I was saying I've been on a crazy art block. So I'm trying to get myself back in the like, in that kind of mindset to draw something that actually works because I've been trying the worst things. But I usually now I have an iPad and I can draw on it. So it's not like I guess physically paper. I used to draw on paper like every year, but I've lost my sketchbook and I'm just not bothered. This pandemic, this lockdown has just really made me so lazy. I've not even looked for my sketchbook that I've lost for months now. So I was like, the iPad's here.
it's actually right there on the shelf right behind you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You know, if it was though, wouldn't I look like
It could have been
fool?
funny. It could have been funny.
Maybe there's
So-
an Easter egg on that shelf. We need to look a little bit harder.
Oh, trust me, I already been staring down that shelf. I was like, is there anything there that we could use? But here's a good one for you. Now that you've done basically a Saturday morning cartoon, would you be opposed to doing a movie, making one, drawing one?
Drawing a movie?
Yeah.
That sounds like so much work though.
Well, you would have, you're the lead, so you'd have everybody down below you doing all the tracing and the, the ink work.
I don't know. I would like to design characters for it, but I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work.
Okay, so that's probably in 20 years from now that we'll worry about that then.
Wow.
20 years? God, how old will I even be then? Maybe I'll retire. I'm hoping.
I don't know. You'll be like 25, right? We're good to go. I'm getting my brownie points in, okay? So, did they have you do any voiceovers? Like, there's like a throwaway line or something?
No.
Not
No, I wish.
AJ, come on.
AJ.
I hate how I sound like recorded. I sound like Daffy Duck, so maybe that's not the best idea.
No.
AJ says she ain't going anywhere in 20 years. We got Battletoads to make.
We got Battletoads
5.
5. Season 5, Dreadpool.
So that
Season
means
5.
number 2 is confirmed.
No, we did not say
We'll just
that.
go skip straight to 3.
Oh yeah, we can skip 2.
No, in rare they would have some humor like 2.51A or something. Oh, that's awesome though. That's pretty cool. Did you design like the characters that were like popcorn characters?
Yeah, Colonel, Captain Colonel, I think.
Yeah, Captain Colonel. That is one of the coolest characters, but I didn't understand why Captain Colonel was there.
You heard the brief I gave you, right?
Yeah.
Was anything there?
It's popcorn mixed with an alien mixed with. It was cool though. I liked it. I did like it. I thought it was really interesting, like the reactions they had and how they like felt. The way they knocked back a little bit. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, really,
Such
really,
annoying
really good
characters,
stuff.
like as enemies, so annoying.
Oh, the Axemen got me really bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody says that. Yeah.
Took a lot of dodging to get through the Axemen. I did like the bobsled level, AJ. If you're listening, I did finally complete that. It took me a while, but I did it.
Man, that level is impossible. For me, that was the hardest level of the game.
Have you played through all the levels of the game, Lucy?
I get to a point and then I can't get any further. I can't remember if I played it when we were developing, if I played further along. But I get stuck now. I'm just so bad at it. I really am.
I do want to say this real quick. AJ, since you're listening, I was in a party with I'm not sure if you ever met him, Matt J. He's a big fan of your work, and Phil was in the party as well. And there was a joke that because Matt J. really tries to 100% achievements in all the games, and he has not 100% all the achievements in Battletoads yet. He needs friends to help him on the biker level. He needs 2 people, and then he should have 100%. So he's really trying hard, man. He is trying to get that 100%. And I think PKX Live is as well. He's trying to get that 100% too. So maybe I'll try to help them, but I will probably help them fail more than help them succeed.
Oh, that was so sad though. He needs friends. I was like, no. I hope he gets some friends.
I'm glad I'm not about achievements at all. Like I don't care. I just play the games, and I'm sorry that I keep that part out of the games. Like I know there's a lot of things like what achievement should we put into games, but that's not for me personally. But I have another question, like going somewhere else. Like, what's the funniest story about the character you designed yourself completely? That you put like a funny background story about, because you
trying to remember the characters I drew, right?
the first one that comes into your mind, that's probably the most important one.
And
so describe it a little bit.
I don't know if it's a funny story, but so there is one of the cult characters has a little cherry on the head. And we have this Black Forest cult. Like some developers, it's like a Black Forest drink that you can get, like a dark cherry kind of drink. And we have this cult now that's all about this drink. So I just tried to add the cult, the real life cult, to the thing. I don't even think AJ even knows about this, but like I gave it a cherry like in thingy for that. Yeah. I can't think of many characters that are designed. I'm trying to think, but yeah, that was a like very personal Easter egg, like for very specific people.
When you were in uni and you started playing Dungeons and Dragons, did you actually ever draw out your own characters and like what you wanted them to look like?
Oh yeah. And I still sometimes draw from like our campaigns. Sometimes I do like silly things. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of artists like in the group, so we tend to draw some things. I'm sure TM. Oh, hello.
Oh, I need to have that on the big screen. Can you talk a little, Drepel, so I can see it?
Oh, that's so pretty. I don't think we can hear.
Yeah, he needs to talk so it comes up on the big screen because I cannot see completely. Needs to be bigger. Damn it.
Yeah, we can see it. That's really pretty. You can see it, right? I can see it.
Yeah, for me it's small. Like if I click on them, no. Yeah, the people can't see it. Like
there you go, the new generation of games artists.
Yeah.
Battletoads 5.
Yeah, no. Actually, the stream didn't see it, but because he needs to talk. Drepel, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I just realized I was muted this whole time.
Yeah, not only that, like the stream couldn't see it because they
Did I need a?
Yeah, there we go.
Is that better?
Nice.
Wow, that's pretty beautiful, man. It's pretty beautiful.
And she's only 7.
Yeah, we had a guest star.
I'm a great artist.
So they loved your artwork.
And that is AJ telling them I'm a great artist.
Yes, I did. I let them know you're a girl artist.
Oh.
Is she coming to work on Battletoads 5 then? In 20, what was it, in 20 years? Yeah, perfect time.
Yeah, in 20 years, yeah. She's already taken off with her tablet. She said she's hungry.
Aren't we all, though? That's very relatable.
Well, you know how it is. You get home from school, you just want to eat. Who wants to do homework, right? So, but yeah, this is one of her cats that she does. Like I said, she's got a box cat. that she drew up, and really
Aw.
cool. I was supposed to get it all like a picture frame and everything for it. Just haven't gotten
What?
around to it. But,
Oh.
but we have it, you know, and it's really cool because the school did something with it too, and they sent it to us. So
Aw.
it was really exciting for us. And she does theater too, so she's multiple stuff.
What? Now I feel like I do nothing with my life.
I can show you.
Can
one
you
of
say hi?
mine
Now
on-
they can hear you.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
You want to put the headset on and talk to them? Okay.
No, change your mind.
No.
She's an artist. She likes your stuff.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
I'm eating pizza.
Ah,
Oh, nice. Oh,
Oh.
well, now I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, I'm getting
now
hungry.
I'm hungry.
Color that you drew.
I drew this painting.
It's really good. It's really good.
It's a cat face.
Yeah, I can see that's really pretty.
It is. It's really pretty.
Have you considered working in games?
What does she want to do later?
Yeah, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I am going to be an artist.
Yeah.
Yes, like me. Maybe we'll work together in the future.
Okay.
Are you done? Okay. Tell her Yasu.
Yes, so.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Okay, there's actually another question in chat as well.
Oh, I thought you were going to show us your art.
Yeah, let me first show my guy. So I'm actually miniature painting.
Oh, nice.
And I do, it's not finished yet. Like it still needs Steve and eyes and the axes, but like I got really in depth in there. Just the base colors at the moment, but yeah, little orky boy.
That's really cool. I really want to try miniature painting, but I think my eyes would like bleed.
The most beautiful guys you will ever see. Like, do you like chibi style?
I do.
Okay, so Arcadia Quest. That's a board game.
Arcadia Quest.
You should check it out.
Making all the
really
notes, shouldn't I?
lovely. Yeah, it's really lovely. They have like big expressive faces. Like you will really love that. They
I
got
always
characters as well.
I always find it interesting. Every time we interview people, they're like, you know what? I got to write that down. They're writing all these notes.
Yeah, you get some. No,
We actually, Savannah Hewlett actually showed us her notes. She's like, oh, let me show you because I'm not making up. Like I'm writing it down. She's like, I actually wrote it down.
Oh yeah, I'm writing it down. I just can't show you because it has some spoilers for next project.
oh yeah.
It's
Don't
not
spoil
notebook.
that.
AJ
That would be
says-
no-go.
AJ says it's good. You just can't see it. I'm
No,
kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So Stephanie has another question, Stephanie McCartan, and she's asking, what have been your biggest challenge so far, and how did you overcome it?
Ever in my career, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess getting established, like getting regular work, is always hard. What?
He just
AJ.
responded, don't show it.
No.
No, so
yeah, just I guess finding work, which is true with everybody, not just if you're freelancing, finding your little slice of the game industry is hard. We were talking about it earlier, it's about knowing people. In the UK, the games industry is so small, so the best way to get work is just know people.
Yes.
So when they think of a job that opens, they immediately think of you. So like if it's a character design position, they'll be like, oh, I know a character artist. So yeah, I think the importance of networking is not something that people talk about a lot, especially like to uni students or like people just starting out. But yeah, it's really important. That's why I think soft skills, like being kind of like friendly and a nice person, are so much more important than what you can draw, because you can get better at the craft, but if you're a shitty person, nothing can change that.
No, I think
No.
it's always always good to have like that lovely smile and just a personality that people like. It always makes people like more to talk more about you as well to other people. Like it brings you out there. When I'm also thinking like, is freelancing something you always saw yourself doing, or were you more like, I want to work at the studio itself?
Yeah, no, freelancing is something I really enjoy, and that's what I always wanted to do. Sorry, AJ. But I just like the freedom and the variety as well. I think now being in a different power dynamic, I don't know how I would react. Because like being my own boss is great. So yeah, I don't know how I would deal with that now if I wasn't. So yeah, no, it's something I always wanted to do. It is the variety more than anything. Just being able to just work on different projects is always exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Oh, nice. Oh, it's a show and tell. I love it. That's really cool.
Wow.
Punch.
I never seen that. Oh, now he's muted. You're muted.
Is he?
Yeah, you got muted. There he is.
There he is.
I did. My book muted me there for a second.
Yeah, maybe you were going
They
to show
wanted
something.
all the attention.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
don't-
neat. I can't
I
work
don't-
with color at all. So that's
Can you speak for a second, Clownz?
Yep. Hello.
Ah, there we go.
yeah.
See,
Wow, that's very
Really good.
dark. Do you love the dark stuff, Clownz?
no, it was actually I took my inspiration from a real life photo that was in a Fox News magazine about like bootleggers, and that's where that came from. And then I drew this. This one is my art teacher actually liked this back in high school because he liked the blending of the building the way I did it. Probably hard to see through the cam.
That's cool. I just like the big block of red.
My
Yeah.
expert artist in the house says she loves your artwork.
Oh, really? Thank you. I'll never be able to do the awesome cartoon style though that you do, Lucy.
I wish I had something to show you as well, but nothing. Sorry.
And then I did a pretty terrible portrait. Like this was back in 1996, but my daughter, when she was 3, took a pen and decided to draw over it. But this was a portrait.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's got versatility. You see that, AJ? In case you're looking to hire somebody.
No, I'm not that good. I'm not that good.
Yeah. I wish I would. I did something with art more as well.
Hey, it's never too
Never
late.
too late. Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I know.
He's a baker artist. He can bake stuff and turn it into art.
I would not say that, Clownz. Just like I studied it by trade. Like when I was young, I became a baker, but it's not that I
Wow.
can design cakes and stuff. Like I need to practice on that if I want to do that. I can make, however, some I don't know how to say it in English, like little figures out of marzipan or
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
marzipan things.
Yeah.
Oh, yum. Yes.
yeah, like a mouse or an elephant or a flower, like a rose, stuff like that. Maybe I'll do it one day on the stream. Just
Yeah.
make figurines.
For the D&D thing, you're gonna send us all marzipan figures so we can eat them. Because
Maybe.
seeing them is fine, but like we need to really check the quality.
See, so that was something that Flamish left out because I'm supposed to travel over there after everything gets lifted, if it ever does get lifted. And so, we're going to do Breaking Bread with Dread. So apparently you have to make some bread now, and we will literally break bread. Okay. So now that I know this, you have to make a few loaves. I don't
Okay.
care. I don't care if they're long loaves, and we'll turn them into lightsabers, and we'll like sword fight with them.
Maybe I'll find some like real Greek bread because I know you're Greek, and I'll maybe try something like that.
You can try it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You got a couple years.
I'm
Well,
super hungry now.
I know, me too. I saw
Me
that
too.
pizza.
I'm gonna order
Hey.
some pizza.
You know what I'm sorry, but you know what the best thing on bread is? My grandmother used to make it, and she'd make it in the old brick oven. And I know
Oh.
Lucy knows what I'm talking about. In the outhouse, the old brick oven, and she would bake all these loaves of bread, and then she'd make us these little ones for the kids. And the best thing was, as soon as it cooled down, you sliced it open, and honey and butter. That's it.
Honey
To be
and
honest, you could just give me
butter.
that plain bread right now, and I would be happy.
Oh, that plain bread was great. But do you remember? You do remember Kyriakidou, Somi?
Yep.
Okay, that stuff was awesome. That stuff lasts forever too. It was just so weird the way that bread is, but love it. Put the honey down there, and then you put the butter right on top. That honey caramelizes and crisps up that bread. It's so weird how it does that.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're on topic of food, let's move on to something else because I have a feeling that Lucy's going to be salivating and
Yeah,
not talking
she
about
is.
anything that she's supposed to be. But you can talk about anything here. We don't care. We talk about everything and anything. We get squirreled.
Yeah, I think you could see us as like a just normal talk show, not really like having too much questions that are prepared, I would say.
What
More like on
Flamish
the fly.
is trying to say in proper English is that it's informal, like friends talking.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I've been having a lot like great time, so a lot of fun.
Yeah.
See me getting red now. That's beautiful, Clownz.
Flamish always tries to think of the correct English terms instead of just going to the right words. He really tries to think hard when he translates.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I had that trouble when I first came here, so I feel that. I still sometimes just say words wrong.
Pong Soul says that we are the video game version of Joe Rogan. That's I don't know if we are, but that's hype to live up to, man. I appreciate
I got
that.
too much hair for that.
That's true.
Okay. Any more questions, guys?
Anything in the chat? Any questions? AJ, if you're still listening, anything that you want us to ask?
He deals
else?
with me every day, like all day. I think he can ask
Anything you want us to ask and not show?
Anything that you want us to ask, but you didn't want to ask yourself directly? This is your opportunity, AJ, if you're listening.
Is there something you want to talk about, Lucy? Something that you are that you want to share with the internet? Haven't talked about yet.
I don't know. It's really hard to just. I don't know. I don't think there's anything I want to share with the internet. The less I share with the internet, the better.
I know the way you phrased that, Flamish, sounding pretty scary.
Oh, we got another question. Clownz?
When you're creating characters, is there something that you use to focus, like listening to music or something similar to that effect?
Yeah, I like listening to music. I sometimes, if it's something specific, I watch stuff in the background as well. So like if it's like creating cartoony things, I may have something that will like, I don't know, you know how like Looney Tunes, for example, like is something that really pushes the characters. like if I need to create a character like that, I like to have some like reference, but also fun for me in the background. But I'm always listening to something. I hate the silence. I can't just work in complete silence. That's psychopath behavior.
I do
Speaking
have.
of psychopath. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I have a question for you, Lucy. As somebody, as I used to draw, I mean, I don't keep up with it anymore, but I always, for me, I can never take an image from my head and put it on paper. Like, I always had to look at a reference or an object, and then I could take like an outline of that and modify it to the way that I want it to be. Like, for example, if I wanted to draw Fred or Barney Flintstone, I would have to look at them, but then I can do anything with them once I looked at them. I just had to have that like reference in front of me. And then the second part of my question is, I never drew like in art class. My art teacher used to get on to me for this. I never drew like the basic. I don't know what they call it nowadays, but the basic model figure with like the circles and the pattern of the
Oh, yeah.
face. I would always just go straight to the outline and then draw the detail in. I could never do all that other stuff. And my teacher would be like, how do you do it? Why do you do it this way? It's so much harder the way you do it. I'm like, I don't understand these circles and all these other things you put in my sketches. I don't get it. I just had to
Rookie
draw my
mistake. Rookie
yeah.
mistake.
I just had to draw it my own way. For me it was always very difficult. So with you, do you have to look at a reference or an object, or can you just pull something out of your head? And then the second part is, do you use like those proper model and figures for art?
Yeah. So first of all, yeah, I always look up reference. Of course, some things I've drawn so much that I don't need to. That I've learned, and now they come naturally. But yeah, for most things, and that's the only way you can get anything done. I remember we were doing like a challenge thing, and we had to draw Sonic or somebody from scratch, and like as soon as like people like say sorry from memory, and it's so hard to do because there's so many things you don't think about. You're like, oh yeah, it's a blue hedgehog, but then you're like, yeah, but like, does he have a neck? Like, I could not remember if he has a neck. I think he does, but like, it's just really hard to kind of picture things. And then, especially if you need to draw something specific, if you just rely on your own memory, that's always going to fail you. So yeah, always doing research, have reference. Yeah, for sure. Even for poses, like I said, like I have a lot of like books like with poses, because yeah, I mean that's the only way to learn, and like by doing it more and more, especially if it's something that you don't draw often. Yeah, like I was thinking the toads I could probably draw now, like from memory, but I'm sure I would get some things wrong. I'm pretty sure I would get stuck. I'd be like, oh no, what does the shoulder look like? Even though I remember exactly what the shoulders look like of all three of them. But yeah, definitely. I'm forgetting the second part of the question.
If you do like the model, like the
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
lines and then the all that stuff.
I didn't used to when I first started drawing, and you can really tell. Is he still there? Because I can't see him.
Oh, he's always there. He says
Okay.
always listening.
He's always listening.
I'm still here. I just shut
Cool.
my camera off because my dog is.
Oh, come on! Do we not get to see your dog?
Mitchell, where are you? You want to come back
Mitchell.
over here?
Amazing.
Mitchell.
Mitchell, you want to come here? Want to come here?
Come here, Tucky.
He's looking at me like, are you going to bribe me with treats to get me out of my house now? He's like, I already walked back. What's up with you? He's like, is
Aw.
there treats in it for me? He's a
Maybe
little
next
Jack Russell, but what's unique about my dog is that he's got like cartoon eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my
your
God.
dog is awesome. Your dog is
Oh my
awesome.
God, so cute.
He's a Papillon.
No doggy here.
He's literally
Mine's
week-
downstairs.
he's literally a week older than my daughter, so they've grown up together.
Aw,
Oh, but that's sweet.
yeah. That's
I'll have to
cute.
send you a picture of my dog. He's got like raccoon eyes. He's got like the black around his eyes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then his eyebrows are like a light brown, which is really unique because when he makes facial expressions, it looks like a cartoon. Like he'll raise his eyebrow and look, And sometimes if I'm singing to him or talking randomly to him, he'll put like his paws over his ears and do this because he doesn't want to hear me annoy him.
That's amazing.
And he knows I'm talking to him because he's giving me a death stare right now. He's staring at me like really hardcore.
It's the sound in your voice, I think.
Oh, thanks, Flamish. That makes me feel great.
No, yeah.
AJ, I could be a super villain according to
Savage.
Flamish.
How do you know he's not doing it to Flamish's voice right now? I'm just saying. Just saying.
No, I got.
Goblin Flamish. He runs out of the room.
Talk like this if you want.
No.
No. One more question I have. Like, is there some tips you can give to young artists that are just starting out when they're young? That you are like, you could. This is something I learned over the years that people who just started out or are starting out in art overall, or do art, can take with them as well, like from experience.
Yeah. Well, first of all, do the structure first. That I was talking about earlier. If you start drawing the lines, you're not gonna. The proportions are gonna go all weird and funny. You need some kind of like structure, like amateur, to build things on. Yeah, I think for artists, I would say for like young artists, to do a lot of life drawing. So like draw from life, like draw people around them, and not be precious with their art. I think a lot of artists get like disappointed when they draw something and it doesn't work out. But the truth is, not everything is going to be a masterpiece, and not everything should be. I do a lot of like sketchy things just to loosen up. A lot of my life drawing is a mess, but it does what it's meant to do. So yeah, I think just don't be precious. Don't try to create something great every time. Just learn something with everything you create. Practice is not just to create great things. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Also draw strangers. That always freaks people out. Always. That's really fun.
Oh, I've been watching this one guy that draws strangers on the train, then he
On
hands
the
them
tube, yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. So good.
I'm surprised that he does it that fast.
Yeah.
That takes practice.
And he
Yeah.
and he does it with no lines.
Yeah, but he does do the structure.
I
But
know.
how does it, like, I wonder, like, how long do people sit still though? Because like I imagine like a lot of stuff he remembered, so like he fills in the gaps, but like
But
when
he
they
hands
move,
it to them.
yeah.
What I think is he just sits there for 5 minutes, stares at people like creepy, and then it's like, oh, that person is not doing anything, so maybe that's why he
Yeah.
starts.
We've all done it. All artists have done it. Like just creepy looked at people.
AJ says we always need villains.
All right, well, AJ, I'm your guy. I will do a voice of a villain anytime you need me. You can call on me. I'm always here for you, buddy. You know what? I need the internship, so I'll do it for free just to get the experience. And you could put me in Battletoads 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. No matter how many you do, even like pieces of like whatever stories you had in Sea of Thieves, I could be a skeleton lord, or and be like, I can do all that stuff for you, man.
AJ, he cannot be a toad, but he can be a frog.
Yes,
Just saying. Go ahead. You know what I'm talking about.
Huh?
Clownz.
That goes
Clownz,
over my head.
Clownz, you know what I'm talking about. You can be a frog.
Not a Battletoad.
Kermit. I am
Oh
Kermit the Frog.
yeah. That's one thing I always do, Lucy, on the interviews with the voice actors. I always ask them to read my Kermit the Frog, and if you are interested, you could always feel free to rate my Kermit the Frog.
Okay.
I am Kermit the Frog. Oh boy!
That's so good. What? 10 out of 10. That's so
Thank
good.
you. Yes.
That's really good.
And I set you up and everything, and I had this. So disappointed, Clowns. What's up with that?
Yeah, you did, and I missed the mark on that one. I'm sorry. So before we get out of here, Infinite, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Any more questions, Stephanie? Feel free to drop in the chat. And Dreadpool, Flamish, you got any more questions?
No, that was my last one. I'm out questioned.
I'm sure I could dig one up if you need me to.
That's up to
But-
you. If you got something that is burning.
I'm good. I think Lucy just nailed it right out of the park.
Aw. Or maybe I'm just not interesting enough to ask questions.
You can always, you know
So,
what?
All right, so here we go.
No,
Ask
no,
a
no, I
que-
was not fishing for questions.
I got,
No,
I got an idea, Dread. I got an idea. The question you're about to ask, you can always ask it in Greek.
Oh, but then we can't understand.
He
That's
can
not
translate
fair.
after. He can
I will
translate after.
try to just answer in a very cryptic way so people don't even know what the question
What?
was.
Nice.
Well, unfortunately, the question it will kind of give it away when I have to speak with the location I want to ask. Port Tatis, Orlando, Florida.
Hopefully soon.
Okay, I'm sure y'all got that.
Yeah, I got it.
What else? Έχω το Breaking Bread with Dread και κάνουμε το podcast έτσι πως κάνουμε εδώ, αλλά είναι χωρίς το βίντεο.
Oh.
Έτσι, και καθόμαστε, μιλάμε και τρώμε φαγητό, έτσι, και μιλάμε ό,τι
nice.
θέλουμε.
Nice. I want in on that.
Okay.
Especially the last part.
So
That's what-
let me get. Can I translate that?
Translate it.
Did you
Yes.
ask her to hang out and do a Breaking Bread with Dread?
In a roundabout way, I did, yes.
When she's
Yes!
coming to California.
I just said I want
No,
in on the
Florida.
eating part because I heard
Yes.
there was eating part. That's
Yes.
what I care about.
That's actually, I guess I'll just go ahead and explain it. Everybody that does not know, Breaking Bread with Dread is where I go with other personalities. We sit down, we eat, and we talk about whatever is going on, be it gaming, their career, just anything in life in general. We just talk about whatever interests us at that time as we're talking about eating. And I also have the foodies that come at me. They want to know more about what we're eating and to describe all that. So we start going into that at the beginning. So it's just, it's a nice little, come to find out, it's not a half hour to an hour thing. It could go up to 2 hours because of how we just get entranced in our conversations. But yeah, it's part of our heritage. We eat and we talk.
Describe to us what you're eating. I'm so hungry now.
Me
Well,
too.
right
and
now,
I got the problem. I can't order stuff anymore. It's all closed.
so what we have to do is we have to get Flamish to figure out how to make χωριάτικο ψωμί με μέλι και βούτυρο και να έχουμε pasticcio.
Yes.
I haven't had
Pasta?
that in for no. Pasticcio is basically, think of it as a Greek lasagna. Okay, so you got
Bechamel sauce.
yes.
I think I'm gonna mute myself so I don't get more hungry.
Yeah,
Muting
honestly,
yourself
I'm gonna go
doesn't
and see
stop
what's
you.
in the kitchen
Okay,
now.
so I'm gonna go next. Like, you can find me on my own channel, Flamish. You can find me on Twitter with my name under me. Like, that's it's hard to pronounce. Clownz always tries, but always fails. Cannot say the right dialect. So yeah, I don't agree with the way how Clownz is saying it every time, but he can keep trying. And then always on this channel, of course, with some more interviews. I'm sure Clownz is going to tell you about that more, and reviews and other stuff.
Well, Flemish, you were the first to do an outro. We didn't even get to the outros yet.
We weren't even doing that.
But you,
no, we're talking about something that that wasn't my outro. That was just part of the conversation. So anyway,
I enjoyed it.
one last
Fine.
quick second before we go. It was the last question. what music do you like?
Oh, I like 70s music, and I also like. Oh no, Alexa's listening to me. Alexa, stop.
Now, everybody in the home that's listening to us, Alexa's like, what? And I just made it worse.
Yeah, and I love like all like kind of 90s like pop punk music. Uh like that
Like
kind of
Blink
stuff.
182.
Yeah. So yeah. I went and saw the last gig I saw before all this. It was Bowling for Soup. That was
Oh,
so fun for
yes.
me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was great.
All right. So here's one of my all-time favorite bands, Prodigy.
Nice. Yes.
Yes, as in
Yes.
you
Yes.
like them? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just checking. Not everybody understands them, so I like to throw that out there.
Well,
yeah.
So are we doing outros now? Is that what's going on?
yeah,
See
I
that
was gonna.
Flamish started it.
Yeah, since he just started, he forgot to say that he's also in Retro Renegade at 7 p.m. Eastern, so he's in the box of
Yes.
shame this week. But Lucy, where can people find you, like on the internet and in your artwork and your page and?
I guess I'm on Twitter a lot on Lucy Does Arts. And on Instagram as Arty Lucy. On Twitter, mostly post a lot of stuff about game dev. When on Instagram is just art. And my dog Nugget. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, whenever your next project's done, I hope to have you back on. I hope you enjoyed your time here and you had fun with us and we didn't make you too hungry or bored. You
No,
know?
honestly, this was really fun. I didn't know what to expect, but this was a welcome surprise. This was a good way to end the week, definitely. Thank you for having me. And I'm definitely hungry, yes, but that's fine. I can forgive that.
Wait, you didn't say you would come back though. You didn't say that part.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But we've already
Yes!
said we're doing D&D, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
so we're gonna do a D&D one.
We've already
Yeah.
said, like, it's set in stone. Like, I'm definitely coming back for that.
Awesome. Well, Dreadpool, since Flamish started the outros,
All right.
where can people find you and all your amazing, talented work that you do, and your discussions and your Eden and all that stuff?
All that stuff, right? So Breaking Bread with Dread, where you can find that is on anchor.fm/Dreadpool. And there it has all the links that you can find me on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Castbox, Otterbox, whatever you want to call them. There's like 9 different platforms you can find it. It's all audio. And we, like I said before, we sit down, we eat, we talk, and just record it in a restaurant. It's all live recording during the recording, not during the playback, by the way. So you get to hear babies crying, chairs screeching. One of the last ones I had, someone forgot their phone. So you literally hear the waitress running by saying, sir, you forgot your phone. So it's a free for all. So you never know, but at least it's organic. And tomorrow, if everything is still on track, Italian Clownz, myself, and Tempest Sound will be doing another Breaking Bread with Dread recording tomorrow, which should be up by Monday. Just FYI. Now, for the rest of the outro, Gaming Beyond the Box, Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. Then we have Breakfast with Boom Friday mornings at 10 a.m. And then obviously here on Four Guys with Quarters, when Clownz has an interview that I can make and he invites me to it, you'll find me here. So thank you, Lucy, for being our I want to say guinea pig, but you weren't a guinea pig. You were lovely. It was great. It's obviously everybody's great to talk to, but this was definitely a fun one to.
But I was the best. You can say it.
AJ's not listening, is he?
Good. No, he should know.
I was going to say, if he is listening, Lucy's the best.
I have a small question. Is that like a cat at the pillow or what?
Yes.
Yeah, Infinite was just pointing out your awesome pink chair, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it.
That reminds me of
me. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dreadpool.
No, I was just saying that's it for me. Thank you.
That reminds me of the Diva chair from Overwatch. I don't know if you ever play Overwatch.
Oh yeah, I played too much Overwatch in my time.
Did you?
I can notice in the artworks. Very
You know,
nice.
Lucy, you're even welcome to come on our regular podcast and just talk about video games if you ever just want to
That
hang out
sounds
and talk.
fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you on. So to get you out of here so you can eat and do whatever else you need to do as you're on lockdown over there.
Yeah.
You all can find me at 4Guys with Quarters, 4GWQ Podcast on Twitter, all over YouTube, on Anchor as well. Thanks to Dread who pointed that out, that it's a pretty awesome service. And you can find me in the Tiny Clowns on all social media. And I don't know what Dreadpool's reaching for, but it looks like the stars.
Aw.
Somebody wants to say, you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye until we work together.
Oh, she said bye until you guys work together. All right.
Ooh, mentorship. I feel mentorship coming.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lucy, for hanging out with us and looking forward to playing some. Oh, another picture.
Yeah, she's got one of her schoolwork pictures.
Oh, that's
Aw,
so pretty.
it's
Oh, this is such a
lovely.
good way to end this.
Yeah. Artist to artist.
Yeah. Not that you've all not been great, but this was nice.
Well,
Yeah,
we know who
absolutely.
steals the show, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
She stole the show the last time too. All right.
Such excitement, though. How can you not get excited?
Yes, she's a little cat.
So lovely.
She got to catch her.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me, by the way. This was really fun. Like,
Absolutely.
honestly, great way to end the week. Awesome.
Yeah. I guess weekend now, so more game.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we are. So
Yeah, we're still
I'm gonna
live.
I'm gonna
Okay,
tell
I'm just
chat.
checking.
Until next time, chat. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy gaming.